So I'm going to go with the 7 option. So again, reminder, you've told staff to pull up 2 options for the community to receive engagement on. So this would be the second one. This is harder to wrap your brain around because it involves 7 and not 9. I'll start by saying the major changes that we did to Old District 5, suddenly the opposite is true. Suddenly that's about the only district that wasn't significantly changed because they already had a population that was high enough to stay within the average. Does that make sense when I say that? Pubnicos and Wedgeports presented to us the challenge of making sure that the population met the bill. In both the lower Wedgeport and Pubnico cases, both of those can only grow by moving north. So we started with the simplest one. Okay, what happens if we move that border north? Okay, so we did that. And so in Wedgeport, that meant moving the boundary from where it was before to the Black Pond Road. And that provided us with a sufficient population to maintain what is new District 1, okay, which was formerly known, the place formerly known as Wedgeport. So that left old District 2, which is currently new District 2. Obviously, it lost population, so it needed to gain it somehow, and it moved far north. So what has happened in this scenario is Camoes Hill, Little River, Plymouth is now married to Little Egypt Road, Tuscot, and Gableton. So that's a large district. It's large because that there's not a ton of people that live in that district, which is why it has to be larger. So in doing so, we've taken a lot of what used to be old number 1 by taking Tuscot away from District 1, correct? So if we look at District 3, which is basically the islands, District 3 has grown quite a bit. So it grew. So in the first option, we said we needed to add Hubbard's Point, which this retains that logic. It's the same, but it also includes Abrams River in this scenario. So it has grown to see 2 communities that used to be in District 1 now be in District 3. Okay, all sorts of logic, pros and cons for that. So if we go up north for a moment, I said I'd go to West Pubnico, but I kept going, I guess. So District 4 is old District 5, and this is essentially the same district as what we saw. Quinans, Spring Havens, Bellevilles, and SAR. So the SAR option moving in the 9 is no longer the case in this option. However, East Kempt could not be added to District 4, so the only other option we had was to add it to District 5, and the logic behind that is, which is the new Argyll district. Then the logic behind that was more one of linguistics. So if those 2 communities are predominantly Anglophone, then perhaps they have something in common. That was the logic behind it, rightly or wrongly. That was the logic. And then if we go, and so if you see District 5 has a negative 8.9, so it was already quite small. So in adding East Kempt, it did it helped it retain most of its original form. And then if we go down south, what happens is Argyll Sound Road, what happens with that particular district is that it had a portion of Argyll Sound Road. Under this scenario, it would have the entirety of Argyll Sound Road. So as you can see, the boundary is now more south. District 6, same logic. So that's the East Pubnico district, has now taken on a more southern line. So it does not take any of the Argyll Sound property, but it does go south well into West Pubnico. So then what would remain is middle and lower West Pubnico represented by that councillor. So this is what 7 looks like